Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Chicago and the Win-Win Workplace Summit.
So good.
Please
All right.
welcome our co-producers, Dr. Angela Jackson of the Future Forward Institute and Jamai Blivin with Innovate and Educate.
Good morning. I feel like I know you intimately through your name badges and pictures that we've gotten over the last few months. Founder and CEO of Innovate and Educate, located in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Thank you to my New Mexican friends for being here. It's our 16th summit. We did many years of the Close It Summit, Washington, D.C., Chicago, Dallas, Austin. And I'm just honored that Angela asked me to co-produce this event with her. And we're really thrilled to have all of you here for the conversation. It's going to be a super fast-paced day, but full of fun, full of great knowledge from corporate leaders from across the country and the globe. And I'm greatly honored to bring up my co-producer, Dr. Angela Jackson, to kick us off.
So good morning again. I want to welcome you to the Win-Win Workplace Summit and to my hometown of Chicago, Illinois. Before I get started, I want to thank our sponsors who've made this event possible. Your belief in the win-win workplace, the framework, and really the philosophy that we're trying to transfer all over this world where businesses can thrive and people can thrive together are so grateful. And we're so grateful for you. So please give a hand to our sponsors. As they mentioned, I'm Dr. Angela Jackson, and I want to thank you for being here this morning with a purpose and on purpose. You know that you're leaders, like we all are in this room, but you're committed to that same philosophy that you can have a win-win workplace, that people can thrive and businesses can thrive, and they're not in opposition. You're not only here because you believe that, but we know that businesses are not just driven by profits, they're actually also powered by people. When I begin the research for the Win-Win Workplace, which you'll find in this book that's at your seats right now, I wanted to understand one thing about what sets thriving organizations apart. So I studied more than 1,700 organizations, from high-growth startups to legacy manufacturers. And what I was looking for were patterns in business, places where people were thriving and businesses were thriving and they were growing together. And I found them. It turns out that there is a correlation between business thriving and people thriving. What I found in these businesses were a set of core commitments. They were committed to growing their people and making sure that their people were sharing in the profits of the business, and that they were actually meeting the needs of their people and ensuring those conditions were set up so people could come into work and actually thrive. I was mentioning to a friend coming here that we spend a third of our lives at work. But then a friend reminded me, when we talk about the percentage of the waking hours that are spent at work, we're spending 2/3 of our waking hours at work and doing work. And so imagine if we could take the workplaces and have them as places for transformation, for growth, reimagining what we can do there, thinking about relationships and bringing people together across lines of perceived difference. What happens when we're actually investing in people and building pathways from people from the front lines into management in the C-suite? We know that it is possible. We know that we can do this. We invited the people who are in this room because we know that not only do you imagine this world can be, many of you are already doing the actual work to make it happen. So I want to thank you. So when I did this research of 1,700 companies and found the ones that were thriving, there were some through lines between all of the companies. And those through lines are what you're going to hear about today. And they became the foundation of what we call the Win-Win Workplace Framework and 9 pillars. You can see them to the left and to the right. And really what those pillars are, they start with centering worker voice. And they talk about what matters most to employees. And you can see them up here. What matters most to employees that also shows that it can actually drive profitability for the business. You'll see how companies centered employee voice, how they invest in managers to actually manage people. That's a novel thought, right? When I was first promoted to manager, I knew nothing about managing people. I had to learn on the fly. And then the companies also measure what matters most. They measure the outcomes of their people. So imagine sitting in that sales meeting or the boardroom where people are talking about how are sales, how are productivity. What about if we're talking about how are our people thriving? And that becomes one of the KPIs that we're looking at on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis. And while every company is different, what we're seeing through all of these, the outcome can be the same with these companies where people are thriving. They have stronger retention, better performance, and they actually have a culture where people want to show up and they want to lean in, even when the times are hard. We're also gathering at a moment, as you all know, that there are economic headwinds going to the left and to the right. There's a lot of uncertainty in the world and in the workplace right now. So more than ever, if we can center workplaces as a place where people can actually show up fully, bring themselves, and know that they're going to be supported in work through upskilling, through wraparound supports, we can ensure that they can actually do their best job, which is also good for business. And that's why this summit matters, because this room is filled with people who believe that this is possible. People tell me all the time, things can't change. I always say, give me one reason why they can. Because all it takes is one reason for us to reimagine these workplaces and to actually make a difference. So here's my ask for you today. I want you to think about whether it's one of the pillars that you see here, a policy, or a commitment that you're making for yourself to take back to your organization. Think about how you can build a more resilient workplace, a more human-centered workplace. Because we know that when businesses thrive, when people actually thrive. And so I want to, again, thank you for being here and welcome you to the Win-Win Workplace Summit.